And we are...
Da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. We are back, the bikini and the brain. And today we have a very special guest, my teammate, Phoebe.
Hello, hello.
Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. It's my honor as well.
Yes, so Adam and I want to know, well, I'm sure Adam knows, but I want to know, and the viewers want to know, tell us how you got into the sport of bikini, because you are a fellow IFBB bikini pro like myself, and also my Team Elite Physique teammate. So tell me, how did you get into bikini?
So, well, I've been in the sport for about 4 years now. So this would have been my fourth consecutive year competing in bodybuilding. And my boyfriend Max actually got me into it. So I started joining. I started the gym about 2014, and then 2015 we met, and he just introduced me to the world of bodybuilding, and like I never looked back pretty much. Like he said you should just do a show, and I took nothing from it really, and I was like, yeah, why not? And literally now here I am, IFBB pro, going like to the Olympia, watching you guys, and yeah, I've never looked back. Like it was absolutely amazing. Like this journey's been amazing for me so far. So
speaking of Olympia, you almost made it.
I know. So do you know what? So many people, like, because the Meet the Athletes meeting was yesterday, and like so many people were like, you'll be there next year, and like looking at the sign, like the stage for finals and stuff, and I was like just envisioning like me just there like one day, and it's incredible, but it's also an incredible like honor to be here anyway, and like watch everyone, especially like you, because I've looked up to you for like years anyway, like
Lush.
And like and all the other bikini girls, and my best friend Ree's here, and like it's nice to support, like be here to support first, and then I can kind of like hopefully be there next year. So.
I love it. So how did you guys find each other? How'd you find Adam as a coach, or vice versa?
Well, I've obviously followed you for a very long time, so I've known about Team Elite Physique forever, and I've watched like YouTubes, and like I've been so interested in the background of like the science side of things and all of that type of thing, and I wanted to expand my knowledge on all of that, because there's only so far you can kind of go, and like a lot of people don't do well, not really, no one really does what Adam does, so like that's really interesting for me to kind of entail on and like learn more about. I just literally messaged him on Instagram, and I was like, I would love to have the opportunity to work with you, and yeah, literally it's just gone from there really.
Yeah, it's been pretty fun. Yeah. Since they've been pretty fun
It's
journey.
been crazy since we pretty much like met. I flew over, like I think I messaged you in, when was it, February, and then flew over in March, and then never literally looked back.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's really cool with Phoebe, is that it's so one of my things with like Ashley is that I was always like, man, I'll never find anyone like Ashley again, where it's like our relationships like that, where it's close and we like have this like journey and like friendship together. And then you came around, and I was like, you know what? I think that I will. I think that I will, and it's probably going to be Phoebe.
Aww, you know, that's sweet. That's so sweet.
It's actually
nice.
like a relief, to be honest, because it's like a fear of mine. Like it's like, man, this is so fun with Ashley, like she's like my sister, and it's like it's just not gonna ever happen, and I just gotta enjoy these moments. And then like I was like, it's just not gonna happen. I even told people about it. I was just like,
you're like waiting. You don't want, like, you're almost like waiting for the day.
Yeah,
like I don't want it to end.
And then like when you came around, I was like, you know what? That's actually gonna happen again. Yeah. Like it's just a matter. I'm gonna have friendships like this again. It's just gonna, and so it's really cool to have
so
you
basically, I'm replacing.
Oh my God!
No, I'm kidding.
That's so funny.
You know, I don't know you a whole lot, but I can tell that you're a very good student, and you got a good head on your shoulders, which is rare.
That means a lot.
I think what really separates her from others is she's not like, full of herself or a diva or anything like that. I would say she's pretty close to being the perfect client.
Yeah, she's a good student for sure.
I'm glad I got an Ashley approval.
Yeah, doesn't cheat, doesn't have any bad moments for the most part, and really just follows it and sticks with it off season and on season. So I guess that's going to lead us to our next question is, so Phoebe went on an incredible run. I'm glad that the Olympia point system changed, so we don't have to do these things anymore and go on like these crazy runs of shows. So for you guys who don't know, to get to the Olympia, you needed to be top 20. The problem is like the top 30 girls were all trying to be the top 20 girls. and they were trying to stay ahead in the points and stay ahead in the points. So they were doing show after show after show, and it just became crazy. Phoebe did 8 shows last year.
Wow.
Which is
a lot.
A lot
in the
of
space
shows.
from like April to August.
And not just
August.
that, they were like all over the world. So
Yeah.
I know how that feels to be jet lagged and to compete in another country. It's very, very exhausting, and I get overwhelmed quickly from all that. So I'm impressed that you were able to do that many shows, like literally all around the world.
Like, it was like from here to there to everywhere, and I was like, do you know what? It's just a journey. I'm just gonna roll with it. Like,
right.
So
like, you won the Vegas show, or
yes,
Vegas?
the Vegas show. That's my first ever pro win. So
that was incredible. We were so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And you also did Vancouver. You
Yeah.
did Portugal, I want to say.
Yes.
Spain. And what other ones am I missing?
I did Toronto.
Toronto.
Oh god, I can't even remember now. I did. I'm like, there's so many. Alicante was my first one, and then I went on to do Puerto Rico, Toronto, a Miami show. Had a few weeks break, and then went on another streak of 3 because those 3 were back to back, and then I did another 3 back to back, which was Vegas, Vancouver, Portugal, and then Tampa 2 weeks later.
Wow, everywhere.
Yeah, and he got top 10 in all of them.
Yeah,
Congrats,
every
that's
show.
8 in all of
awesome.
them. Yeah,
Top
it was
8, yeah.
it really like I can't like fathom like how excited I am and like honored I am that I did get those placings.
Yeah,
and stuff,
so eighth was the lowest placing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, points go 1 through 5, and she hit 6th, I think, 3 times, right?
Yeah,
and that's
all
what,
of the
that's
main.
what,
Those are the tier 2 shows that I got.
yeah,
sick at
but
all
literally
the time.
any of those shows that she got 6th in would have got 5th. She would have been in the
Yeah.
Olympia. Just yeah. There was actually one point separated her and another girl from getting 5th and 6th
Vancouver.
once.
That was Vancouver.
And if she would have got 5th there, then she would have got to it. So literally 1 point, judge's point away from getting all the points she needed. Yeah, it's just so close and so like, so it's like, it's almost like, oh, you're right there.
Yeah,
and
it's so close. But I feel, do you know what? I feel like this season it's almost like I feel like you have to earn your way up, like over the years and
true.
Yeah, like you have to earn your way up. And I feel like this year, even though I didn't make it, like, and I would have loved to be on that stage, like I earned my way like slowly up. So I feel like hopefully, obviously next year will be just better. Like every year it's just gotten better. So like hopefully next year will be even more better.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so what is your, I mean, it's just crazy that you went through all that to get to shows, you know, so how did you do it mentally? Because I mean, you got a relationship with Max, and he's super supportive, so I love Max, you know, but like, he's super supportive, but I mean, traveling the world the way you did so much, like, how did you mentally handle, because you're pretty much on your own most of the time, because Max has to work a job, you know, and he can't travel with you the way you did.
I mean, I wish.
How did you do that? How did you manage your life? Like, how did it not become overwhelming? Like, how did you do it? I mean, it's so much.
Well, the truth is that it was overwhelming. Like I think a lot of people think that that you can handle it, and there's like always a way to handle it, but it is overwhelming. And I think knowing it's going to be overwhelming is like how it helped me, because I knew it was going to be full on. Like, I did 2 streaks of 3 back-to-back shows, and like, who's anyone will know that's hard. So I was like, just preparing myself that is going to be hard. Like, don't think it's going to be easy, or don't think, oh, like, this is going to be walking in the park, it's going to be fine. Just prepare yourself for that. It's going to be tough. Like, and whatever comes your way, just like sit with yourself and be like, okay, how can I handle this situation, and just be calm, because there was so many, like, for Vancouver I lost all my luggage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
That's
flight
stressful.
Brutal.
coming out of Denver is like the worst. Every time I've come out of Denver, there's always been loads of flight delays and everything. So I had a delayed flight. All my luggage got lost. A tip for anyone: never ever pack your bikini, heels, anything in your thing. I've always packed my stuff in my carry-on. But if I'd packed any of my stuff in my suitcase, I didn't get it until the end of the trip. So like, didn't have any stuff for Vancouver. So it was a lot of stress. So like, handling situations like that aren't in your control, you just have to be like calm.
Yeah,
like,
just roll with it.
literally just roll with whatever any situation that kind of comes your way.
That's a good tip.
Yeah,
That's a really good tip.
just because there's no, I think a lot of, especially you as a pro and like us as a pro, like, I think people think that we can handle it like so easy because we are pros, but it's still just as hard for us, if not harder, because we have the pressure, we have like just loads of other stuff going on, and it's hard to handle it sometimes.
I agree, and I've had a few of those situations myself. I remember when I was in Korea, like no one we thought that there was like a tanning service, and then there wasn't, and then there was, and then we found out about the tanning service. Like the guy called somebody in like literally like the last hour before we were about to go on stage. We finally got a tan service.
No.
But we were just like, what do I do?
Well, at least everyone's in the same boat, so not like there's not like one person that's like tan. It's like, oh, but everyone's tan.
Yeah, and and when I went to Russia to compete in 2014, I forgot my contacts. Like I came on the plane with glasses, and I'm like, I'm so almost blind. I'm like -5, so I can barely see anything. And I arrived in glasses because I'm like, okay, I'm just chilling it at the, it's kind of like my chill look, I've got my sweats on and all comfy for the plane. But when I arrived, I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't bring my contact lenses. But luckily, you don't need a prescription in Russia to get contacts. Yeah, so I was able just to go to the pharmacy and get them. Like, oh God, thank God they have that in this country. Otherwise, I'd be screwed, because I don't think anybody else is gonna have -5.
I mean, no, not many people would. And like randomly, like who would just lend you like contacts? Like, can you just borrow your contacts?
Exactly.
Yeah, of course you can.
It's not like I can overnight them either.
Yeah,
from
exactly.
My house, so. Yeah, thank goodness.
Yeah, I think that, like, just knowing that it's going to be overwhelming, especially trying to get your pro card or climb the ranks in, like, the pro scene, just know that it's always overwhelming. Like, I think just preparing yourself for that is, like, the main tip that I would give. I
have a question for both of you guys. So, with you doing so many back-to-back shows, how did you guys handle the rebounding situation? Were you able to eat a cheat meal afterwards, or did you just like stick with your diet all the way through? How did you guys do that?
Well, you can kind of take on that one.
Yeah. So I think really what it comes down to is, how we do peak weeks, she does them pretty much the same way.
Okay.
So when you're not, people that are listening have probably heard the peak week episode. When you're not taking all these risks and you're not manipulating sodium and doing all these crazy diuretics and all these different things, then you don't have rebounds that hard, because it's just like dieting, and then it's just like, okay, now I have a little bit more carbs this week, so you don't have these crazy rebounds. So you're not going to go through these huge fluctuations where it's like, oh man, I got 10 days to get my body back after the 3-day rebound, So it's when you just have a little bit more carbs towards the end, and is basically what Phoebe did, then you're not going to have these crazy like blow ups after a show. I will say Vancouver was probably we paid the most price for like the stress, I think, and that's something we couldn't control, because I mean she didn't have anything.
I think just over a kilo above my stage rate for that. So like that, and that was purely from.
What's a kilo?
2.2
pounds.
Sorry,
I'm from England.
I have to convert all her weights.
Yeah, I always work in kilos, and I always forget, and I'm like pounds. But yeah, like from that stress, like purely from stress, because we were spot on before I left for Denver, and then like I just got so stressed from obviously like everything. So which can't sometimes be controlled. So like it just is what it is. But yeah.
So no cheat meals afterwards.
I mean, like, we had, like, steak and potatoes and, like, greens and stuff. So, so, like, something, like, substantial. Because on show day, you don't, like, eat a lot of food. So, like, you need something at the end, and then obviously go back to normal then the next day. So, that's pretty much how we
you're right back on it the next day, like, cardio, everything.
Yeah, like, I mean, to be fair, like, and I think everyone always thought as well, how did you just get straight back into it? And I was like, the thing is, this thing is, like, a lifestyle. So, like, for me, I'm like, that's normal to just go straight into cardio, like, sort out all my meals, like all of that type of thing. And like obviously as well, like it's really easy to just go straight back into that mindset of right, next one, let's go.
Right. Some things that's funny is like everyone asks me, oh, what are you gonna eat afterwards? What are you craving? And it's like, honestly, give me some sleep and a shower.
Yeah, like energy.
Give me a shower and sleep. Honestly, I'd rather have that. But I will have like a little treat or something afterwards.
Yeah,
but honestly, my mind isn't even there. Especially if I do well, I'm like, no, I don't want to mess this up. I want to keep going.
That's the same mentality. I'm like, when's the next show? Like, I want to keep going. But like, I don't think we're very food focused. Like, I mean, you get food focused sometimes, but like, I don't think nearly as much as I thought I would be. So it's cool.
That's the one thing that I noticed, like the good bikini competitors love competing. The ones that that aren't going to make it, that aren't going to make it, like are just hating the process, hating the competition. But you guys like enjoy the suck, both of you. And then it's like always like, when's the next one? When's the next one? And so that's a commonality between the top girls. They just love it. They love competing. I think that's part of the whole success for you that you've had is even though it was a lot of shows, you loved it, and if you go back to like old school bodybuilding, you go back to like, and I talked to Chris Cormier yesterday. I interviewed him yesterday, And I actually asked him about this. I was like, old school bodybuilders used to do like 10 shows a year. They did it for like money. It was like, they were like, back then they're like, this is what I do for my living, because they didn't have any other streams. Personal training was only in the gym, so they didn't personal train.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything online, so they didn't have any extra streams of income, so they had to just compete. So they were competing. He told me he competed every year 10 times. And I was like, man, that's crazy to think about now, because now we say,
if we said that, they'd be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
But that was just, 20 years ago when I was growing up. That was when I was watching bodybuilding. All of them did, and they were always trying to get money in for the points race, because that's the only way they could do it. So it was kind of not for points race, but for shows. They're just trying to make a living, and so it's crazy, because I guess something shifted in the mindset, right? Where now 8 shows is a lot of. It's still a lot of freaking shows. But it's like so unheard of now. But we're like, as an audience, we're like, man, that's tough, which is crazy tough. I don't want to take away from that, but it's just nuts to think about. How things have changed and how everything's evolved, and now you can do things like online with your training, where you don't have to kill yourself in doing shows. And that's something you do too. You're an online coach, right? And you do online posing. Yeah. So how's that been? With like are you essentially using the bikini stage as a platform to like expose that and kind of gain more clients and that type of thing?
Yeah, of course. Like I think so. Ever since I kind of started, I wanted to be like a personal trainer and like be in the fitness industry like through there. But then when I started bodybuilding, I kind of slowly shifted away from personal training, because it was very full on and you needed to kind of be there instead of like around the world. And I was like, do you know what, I want to be self-employed where I can like do all these shows and not have any worries and go and travel around the world, but also work at the same time, because obviously this sport is not cheap, so I need some sort of income to kind of help me do that. So I started online coaching and getting a few clients here and there, still working 2 part-time jobs though, so like this process to get to where I am now hasn't been easy, but a year ago I finally went like completely self-employed, and I can now like fully like just do whatever I want in terms of traveling, in terms of competitions, and fund myself and not worry about it, which has been a really, really hard journey for me, and like I've really worked hard to do that. But yeah, like the stage has really, really helped me grow my business and grow my audience, get my message that I kind of like want to give in the sport out there, and kind of your personality, because I think social media can be very like hit or miss sometimes. Like people only want to put certain things out there, but it's nice to put things that people wouldn't expect out there, like not obviously too much, but like enough for people to be like, I really respect that, because I go through that too, like, but I didn't know that people do go through that. So I think Instagram bodybuilding as a whole has really helped my career within the sport for sure, and I think it does with a lot of pros, because I think it comes with the title, you have to kind of be out there, like put your journey out there and like show the world like who you are, and stuff.
I think that definitely goes in line with a lot of the pros, because something, it's hard to have like a 9-to-5 and do the sport if you're always traveling like you are. It'd be very difficult. So I think like if you can do the self-employed route, it's much better, and you have the time to play with on your hands. So yeah, congrats on all of your success and making a career from what you love. That is awesome, and it can be done. Everyone out there, it can be done. You just gotta find your own way. You know?
I think me and Ashley are going to do a podcast on fitness, like the
business of fitness.
But I think it's really important to see like Phoebe, because everyone sees Ashley. And, they've seen me, I've done this for 20 years, and Ashley won 3 Olympias. And so they're like, oh, yeah, of course Ashley does it because she's won 3 Olympias. But I'm not going to win 3 Olympias, and, and I'm not going to ever make it unless I win an Olympia. So it just shows, Phoebe's an up-and-coming bikini pro. Like, you guys are hearing about her now, but you didn't hear about her a year ago. And she was already making a good income and able to do this. So, I think 2 years ago, like we just started hearing Phoebe, right? And now it's like you're already an online trainer. So it just shows that like if you work hard, anyone can reach that level of being successful in this business. And especially it's so cool that like the IFBB and NPC like give us like the ability to have a platform where we can all it's crazy because we all make a living.
Yeah, like everyone, I think everyone generally thinks that we don't do anything but shows. That's what I think. Like probably everyone thinks like Ashley just competes like.
Yeah, that's how I get my money. It's just shows. It's more money is to be made off stage, but the stage gives you the exposure to make that money, if that makes sense.
100%. Like that's where like my business has come from. Every time I do a show, I get more people like, oh, okay, let's do posing. Like, can I do posing? Oh, I see you're an online coach now. Like, I saw you at this show. Like, that type of thing. And it's the same with you probably with like brands and stuff. And like, you just know, like the more, because stage gives you exposure. So like the more exposure you get, the more you are like entitled for like more like working with brands and working with people and stuff like that. So yeah, like I just love the stage, everything about it, if I'm honest.
I do too. You know what's so funny is I think that same way. I love it. I love what I do. Some people will like, I think people that don't understand criticize like, is that all you do? You can't even go out. You can't go to eat. That sucks. Like, no, it doesn't suck. I freaking love this life. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My life is way exciting. I get to travel places. I have all these great opportunities, seeing countries that I never thought I would be able to see, meeting people like you guys, having this awesome podcast, all because of competing. So, like, if anybody has anything to say about it, it's like, so I'm missing going out for drinks, but are you going to Japan next week?
I didn't think so. Memories and making memories and doing like bodybuilding is like a one in a lifetime thing. Like so many people can't do it. So like the fact that we are is just like amazing in itself.
Yeah, I love what I do, and I'm not miserable at all. I love it, every second of it, everything that goes into it.
Yeah, I would never trade, going out with my friends and getting drunk on the weekends for like good sleep and, and a good
waking
meal
up early.
And having abs, which
having abs.
I was talking to Ashley the other day because I haven't had abs like a show abs for so long, and I'm like, she was like showing me. I was like, man, that must feel good. I remember how that felt.
The distance, like remembering the days, like I remember those days.
I want those back.
But yeah, I think that your real friends understand the journey. Like they, like all of my close friends, like understand like what I go through, like with prep, everything. They say, okay, like I know you've got a show, like we'll see you like after, like I know you're busy, that type of thing. Like they understand, and those are the people that are the true ones,
the keepers.
The keepers. Of course.
That's awesome. So guys, I want to know, what's the plan? So what's next for you? Are you off season? Are you prepping for a show? What do you have in sight?
So, well, I'm currently off season. A lot of people like. So last year I just kept on going, like after the cutoff point, because last year I did 3 shows, pro shows after I got my pro card, and again I missed out on the Olympia list. I was 26th, not as obviously close as this year, but close enough-ish, and so I carried on after the cutoff point and tried to obviously gain points for next year and stuff. But this year I've decided to kind of take time off. I think it's definitely needed mental-wise. I think body-wise I could have kept on pushing, but mental-wise I think I would just end up not enjoying the process. And for me, I don't want to push myself that far where I start resenting it, because I know if you resent it, then I think that will cause long-term damage with just the sport in general. So for me, I took a step. I think we both took a step back, and I think we had a phone call like an hour after Tampa, and I was like, I will do whatever you say. And I was like so prepared for him to be like, right, let's do it, like let's go again. You were like, let's take time off, and I was like, okay. Like I'm really all for that, because I think 70% of me was like, I'm okay, if I need to, if Adam says to do more shows, I will. 30% of me was like, please, like let's just go off season, I think. Like, but yeah, I think off season is where it's at, like at the moment. Building, generally seeing how the next few shows go, like the rest of the shows go this year, and like what the standard is set, because I think this Olympia will be where bikini is kind of going, because like it's been so not hit or miss, but like very different this year. Like there's been so many winners, and this is why I'm so excited for this year, because like there's so many new people, there's so many different physiques this year, and like I'm excited to see where bikini is kind of like going and stuff. And I think this year shows and Olympia will kind of determine that a lot.
Are you gonna try to put in for the Arnold?
Yes.
An invitation? Okay. Yes. You have a good chance.
I think she's got a good chance.
Yeah, you've won a show. You almost qualified for Olympia. I think you have a really good chance of getting invited. And for the listeners out there, the Arnold Classic is a unique show because you have to be invited in order to compete, and you have to ask to be invited. So I have to write a letter to Bob Lorimer, which is like the head of the Arnold committee, and say, I would love to compete at the Arnold Classic. Here's my credentials. Here's why I want to compete, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I mean,
it's exciting. That's like,
I hope to see you on stage. That would be exciting.
That'd be two Team Elite Physique teamies like on that stage.
Well, yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a fun. I think you actually have the resume now. You're definitely right there. You're right there.
Fingers crossed, that'd be cool. But yeah, like I think so off season for us, I think that was the main plan.
It's it's one of those things where her body doesn't need a lot of work at this point. She just won a show, so like she can win another one. So it's not like she needs a ton of work. It's just a matter of like keeping the body healthy, keeping her metabolism responsive, and then giving her a mental break. Because like you have the Chris and Flex stories where they competed all the time, but that was a different world. And so in our world now, we know more. We know that, hey, that's actually not good for you. You don't just grind shows out like crazy. So you got to take a step back sometimes for the mental health to keep enjoying it, and then obviously for your metabolic response. You can't just diet forever. So you're just going to eventually not respond, and you're young. What are you, 24? Yeah. So I want that metabolism working when you're 34.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And I think that especially having this break, and this is why I wanted to take a break as well, to kind of represent the sport, is you can't keep going all the time. Because like I think a lot of girls just, their mentalities, which is a good mentality to have, but like I will do anything I can to either get pro card or get points, and that's a good mentality, but to a certain extent it's also a very dangerous mentality to have, because they will just keep going and burn, and like this sport has an expiry date. Like you can't just do it forever, and you need to create yourself, like we was saying earlier, like you need to create yourself within bodybuilding so you can carry on with a good career and do stuff after bodybuilding as well. So yeah, that's why I wanted to represent the sport in a good way, and have time off and kind of just have a bit of life back as well. Go out, like Max definitely is earn like a few meals out.
Boyfriend of the year,
he's just sat back and just been like, yep, you like fly to America, just do it. I think this is the 5th trip I've been to America. I went to America like 3 times when I was competing, I think.
Yeah.
So like back and forth. So it's
Jesus,
Max is Max is a very good dude. Like you have, there's always like, I love seeing when someone has that like support person in the background, and it's I always say like behind every guy there's a greater woman, or behind every great guy there's a greater woman. But in this scenario, it's like great girl, greater man. Like he really has done a lot. He took time off to come to America with you for I think 2 weeks at one point.
3 weeks. We traveled for 3 weeks, and he couldn't. I traveled because I came to Denver first, then Puerto Rico, Toronto, Miami. My best friend Jade came to me with Miami at the end, but obviously he couldn't come because of work and stuff at the end. But he's like traveled all over the place and stuff with me this year, and like next year hopefully he can do the same as well. But he's really a few little nights off, like where I can have like a meal and stuff. So
So I think a lot of our podcasts are always trying to give advice, but and there's like advice that people don't really think about. But how do you maintain a relationship doing what you did? I mean before even I answer, I can cut you off, because how many times have you seen people break up through a process of a prep?
Oh my god, like, so many times.
90% of the time. It's crazy.
Like so many people. The thing is, I think it's because he was the one that brought me into the sport, and he understands, like he's done shows before as well, so he understands the process.
Is he men's physique or bodybuilding?
Bodybuilder. So
bodybuilding.
Well, classic bodybuilder.
Classic bodybuilding.
So he's done a few shows himself. He's never wanted to kind of grace the pro kind of scene, but he enjoys the process and like that type of thing, and he enjoys supporting me. And advice on kind of like keeping a relationship, I think, is definitely making sure that you give time to them, because it's so easy to just be like in a routine with prep and just eat, gym, sleep, repeat, and like not include anyone else. Like I know my friends understand me where I kind of like, I don't shut them off, but I kind of say, look, I'm really busy, I would love to see you, but I just need to like focus, and they understand that. And it's so easy to sometimes do that with relationships as well, but it's good because me and Max live together, so we do see each other like still. A lot of people don't live together, so like that for them it's easy to then shut them off, their boyfriends off too, and then they feel isolated and not in a relationship anymore. So making sure that you take time out of your day to like go out of your way to make sure that you are giving them your time as well. Like even if it's 1 day a week, if it's really that minimal, like just really like just go to the cinema, go swimming. Like we go swimming all the time, like, and go to the sauna, go cinema, and like it doesn't always have to involve food. If it does have to involve food, you can literally sit there with side salad, a coffee. Like I've done that so many times and it's been fine, just to catch up and like be together, and they generally really, really appreciate it more than anything, instead of being like, oh, I can't do that, because the sport revolves around you, because it is selfish in that aspect. So it's nice when you involve them, and they really do appreciate it, and I think that's what makes a relationship like so much stronger.
That's really good advice.
Yeah. Like,
I think you know, a lot of people kind of use that as an excuse, like I'm prepping, so I can't do this, I can't do that, and then kind of like, you know, maybe neglecting their friends and family a little too much. But it's important to just, you know, like you said, even if you do go to a restaurant with them, have a coffee, have a side salad. You know, it's not going to hurt for you just to go and sit there.
Exactly.
There's no harm in that, I think. So that's really good tips.
Yeah, and I think it's the same with family as well. Family is the most important thing, and like you need to make sure that you take like. Family is probably the hardest people to kind of understand the sport, if I'm honest. Like,
they're like the concerned ones.
Yeah, like why are you not eating? Like my dad's African. He's from Ghana, and like if anyone has like African parents, you know, they're feeders. Like they eat so much. So like he's always like, oh, you can have chicken, and I'm like, yeah, but Dad, that's chicken thigh. That's like covered in sauce. Like I can't have that. So with family, just make sure you explain what you're doing, because they're just concerned. They just want to make sure that you're okay. So like just explaining what you're doing, like, and they'll understand eventually. Like when they see you're happy and stuff, they'll understand.
That's good. Very wise. Very wise. I want to know, what was the judges' feedback they give you throughout these shows? You stayed pretty consistent for what I saw. But what were they saying when you asked, like, is there anything I can fix or improve on?
Well, it's been, like, obviously it's always going to be different, because all the judges are always going to be different, and the lineup's always different. I think a lot of people don't take into consideration that it is important that, like, when the judges are looking at you, it's about the lineup as well, like who's there, because with the Pro League, obviously there's no height class, so like I'm one of the tallest. I think it's me and Massa. We're like we were actually hanging out yesterday and like taking photos with everyone. We're all the same height, and everyone's in the middle, like really short. So it was quite funny. But I think we're the tallest bikini pros.
And how tall are you?
5'9". And she's like, I want to say she's like 6 foot. Massa, maybe.
Yeah, at least 5'11".
She's taller than me. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's taller than me. So like, but we're the tallest, and like there are girls that are like under 5 foot. So it's a significant difference, and when you have that on stage, it kind of like it's difficult to kind of judge. Not fairly, but like evenly, because the heights do take into consideration.
It is crazy,
you know what I mean?
Right? There could be like a foot difference. It's like what?
So and like that. I think sometimes obviously that takes into consideration where like feedback might be different. So but my what's the word? I can't talk. Has been my feedback has been like my upper body this year, which is interesting because my feedback usually is my upper body is too big. Last year my upper body was way too big. And when I went to Adam, he was like, your lats they're too big, so we need to downsize. And I think slowly towards the end they were like, we want to see a little bit fuller upper body. Legs were good, maybe like a little bit more conditioning in the glutes, yeah, because the hamstrings are okay, but like it's the glute ham tie-in that like my condition could be a little bit better around. Overall presence and balance is good. Don't grow too much, because I think what we kind of were trying to find the balance of is obviously my upper body, like trying to match my lower body, because it's not like a massively difference. Like my lower body's not massive difference, like big or anything, but it's trying to find that balance where you obviously have a good upper body, tapered waist, and then like a good balanced lower body. And that's what we were trying to find this year, I think, and like I think we're going to definitely find it next year.
It is. It's just a matter of like getting that tie-in to be a little bit better. And this actually goes into what me and Ash were talking about the other day. She's got one of the more rounder, more profile glutes than the longer glutes. So her tie-ins, it's harder for her to get her tie-ins to show up. We're talking about girls who have the rounder glutes versus the longer glutes.
Oh, long,
like,
yeah.
And
And
so,
you can tell from the back especially, you know?
And it's always the girls with the longer glutes have the better tie-ins, you know, and it takes a little bit more work for the girls with the bigger profile glutes. The more rapper girl glutes.
Rapper girl glutes, bubble butt.
Bubble butt.
Literally.
To get that tie-in. And so, and another cool thing too, and it's not, obviously it's a topic that people always like dodge and whatnot, but Phoebe is a natural athlete. You know, she is a natural athlete. So you know it's harder for a natural athlete to get her conditioning where it needs to be, but she's been able to do it, and she's been able to win shows doing it, and I think that's important to talk about too, just because a lot of girls are willing to do whatever it takes to get there.
And that's why I say about like the dangerous mentality, and especially coaches as well. Coaches are like, athletes like trust. You need to trust your coach, and everyone has a trust with their coach. So if a coach was to say, "Oh, let's do this," the athlete is going to be like, "Yeah, I'm determined to do whatever it takes." And like I said, that's a bit of a dangerous mentality to sometimes have. But it's tough, obviously, but like it's worth it, you know. Like I definitely wouldn't ever turn back and. On any of the shows that I did this year, like all of them have been a big learning experience, and all of the kind of experience we've kind of done, like we've done loads of different carb ups, we've done not like barely any carbs like for a carb up, and loads of carbs, and I think we've experimented this year obviously because it's our first year competing together. The next year I think we're gonna hopefully get a spot
it's really honed in now, and that's what people don't get. It's like it takes a few shows to really figure it out. Like the first show we really loaded like crazy, and then the show we hardly did anything, and it worked really well
that was
too.
the feedback. The feedback. So the first one was like, "Oh, you're like really conditioned. We want to see a bit more fullness." So we really carved up for the next one. They were like, "We want to see more condition. Like you're too full." And I was like, "Right, okay. So let's like draw it down completely." And then like the thing is, I feel like you never get it spot on.
You'll never,
like 3-time Miss Olympia, like amazing, and I feel like everyone can always get better, you know.
Yeah, and you know something too with bikini, it's almost like you know. Leaner isn't always better, more conditioned isn't always better, more muscular isn't always better. But then again, you don't want to be too soft or, you know, like, so it's kind of like you think maybe I look better, but then you get the judge's feedback, oh, you're too hard or something like that. Yeah. So it's kind of like you got to get several opinions from people like you trust. I mean, you coach like Adam.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, because we can definitely have like mind games, I think, especially when prepping for a show, we're getting close and we're like, no, I'm not lean enough yet. I'm not lean enough yet. And in reality, you're probably already ready.
I look back on my prep photos, because I always do this. I look back on my prep photos, like when I'm kind of in off season, not to like be like, oh, I'm not lean anymore, but like to see how lean I actually was. Because like people, I think when you're, especially when you're dieted for a long time, you don't see how lean you are. And like it's good to obviously have a coach because they see it. And like Adam could literally be like, shut up Phoebe, like you're lean, like stop complaining. I'm like, okay, it's fine. But
I don't think you thought you were lean enough going into the show. You were
I was like, I'm not lean enough. And I look back at my photos and I'm like, what was I actually thinking? Like, it's good to look over all of your stuff, like your shows you've been through.
I save all of my videos and stuff, like, okay, this was taken 1 week before this show, 1 week before the show, and I will literally like analyze and try to get it at the same spot, same lighting and everything. But that is definitely a technique to use. And like you said, when you are competing a lot, so you're staying rather lean, you don't see like major changes. So that kind of plays with your mind too. So when you first like diet and prep for a show after coming off a long off season, you might be like, wow, I'm seeing progress every week, and it's very obvious. But when you're already kind of there or close to being there, those changes are way more subtle. So it kind of plays with your mind like, oh, I'm not changing, nothing's working, like, you know. Exactly. But in reality, every day you're getting a little bit tighter.
And that's why like you have like eagle eyes like Adam, like I see that. Like I think we did a carb up once and I was like, I look nothing different. He's like had to like circle like this and I was like, oh yeah, I can see it. Like, you just can't see it sometimes, and like that's why it's good to have a coach to like literally be like, we need to do this, we need to do that. But yeah, going back to the feedback, my feedback has been like, I think it's just overall things of like better tie-ins, like a little bit more like a fuller upper body, not meaning growing your upper body, but just kind of like pumping up more or carving up a little bit more just to bring it out more, because I don't think I need to grow it at all.
Yeah, you're pretty muscular, competitor. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much been my favorite.
And that's the weird thing about bikini too, is that there are all these different body types that can do well in bikini. and people always like will ask me about bikini and how it works, and I say, well, the first problem is you're trying to figure out bikini.
Yeah, it's a never-ending story.
Yeah, it's different for every girl. Every girl's going to have their own look that works really good, especially on the pro level. At like the national level, it's pretty consistent that the girls are all pretty muscular and lean because that's all they have to choose from. They don't know any of the people yet. And so, but as you get a pro, they start honing your look for you. So, so your look is a more muscular bikini cutter.
Yeah, which I love. Like, it's hard because you kind of got to, I think people say, what do I need to do to be like a better bikini athlete? Or how can I look? How do I need to look? And I'm like, you need to have a look that you like.
Yes.
Because it's like me trying to look like Ashley. Like, it's just not gonna work. Like, because you need to look for what you want to look like. Do you know what I mean? Like, and bring what you want to bring. And if it's good for the judges, like, you can always hone that in. So like, you get the feedback on what the judges, like what you've brought the judges.
Yes.
Instead of bringing what the judges, obviously you want to bring what the judges want, but not like just anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like you said, there's so many different body types and structures in bikini. Like, some are more muscular, some are softer and curvier, but that's all going to be dependent on your best and how you look. So one girl can get away with being softer, higher body fat percentage, and then another girl will just not look as good that way. Like, I feel like if I tried to soften up a little bit, I just look thick, if that makes sense. I just look thick. So for me, I do have to get a little bit leaner so that I don't have that appearance of like, I'm wider or thicker than anybody else. So, and then there's other girls too that like can come in more muscular than me, and then vice versa. It's like, it's great that we can accommodate to so many different body types, but at the end of the day, kind of like going with our previous podcast a few times ago, like, you got to aim for your personal best, not somebody else's, because we're all different. We're all built differently. And no matter what, just like you said, at the end of the day, I can't look like you. You can't look like me. Even if I trained like you, even if I ate just like you, we're built differently, different body types. So something to take in consideration.
I think that's really important. So there's a couple of things that, like, with your prep and whatnot and your success that you've had that I think are important to expose. So I'm going to kind of slightly, hopefully not cross a line here, but it's the only way, but I think it's important for people to know. So this is, for me, it's like, this is me being edgy, right? But I'm not edgy. So the one thing I want to point out about Phoebe, and a lot of girls will come to me and ask this question, and they think, hey, Adam, I need implants to do good in bikini. I need implants. And so I just want to mention that out loud because Phoebe won a pro show this year and she does not have implants. Yeah. And so this is me being super edgy.
No. but no, it is true though, because it's so many people like always ask and like say, do you need them? And it's difficult because people do. So when you obviously, because breast tissue is like, it's fat, like when you can't pinpoint where you lose fat from. So some girls do lose a lot, and it's difficult because for them, they don't feel womanly. That doesn't make them feel like good going on stage, and that's their like, not issue, but like their like thoughts. So they want to get implants, which is fine. But then there's people that go and say, I need implants to do bikini, to do well, do bikini. Yeah, and you don't. So like if you, and I always say, if you feel like you need implants like for the sport, don't get them, because like I said before, it has an expiry date, and like when you come away from competing and stuff like that, if you don't want them then that's going to be an issue. So like if you want them because you don't feel comfortable with yourself like in everyday life, all that type of thing, and that you've thought about it, all of that type of thing, that's totally fine. I have no issue with anyone having obviously implants and stuff, but just don't get them for the sport, because that's like
that's the thing that I want to get to, because I get that that's the question I get a lot. Like, hey, I want to get my pro card, but I can't do it unless I have implants. And I'm like, you don't have to change your body that way to get it, because so many pros don't and do well.
And I think, too, is like sometimes people do get them and it actually doesn't help their appearance at all. Like, maybe they're too big and it throws them off proportion. Yeah. And not only that, it's like the downtime it takes that you have to take off from working out. Yeah. I mean, I got my boobs done. I'll be honest. I got my boobs done. And I remember not being able to work out for a long time. I got them under the muscle, so it was like more traumatic, I guess. Yeah. But if I didn't get them under the muscle, they'd be way more obvious, because when you get lean, you can see the outline really bad if they're over the muscle in most cases, unless you have a lot of boob to begin with. Yeah. But, I think that even from this, hearing judges' feedback and stuff, sometimes somebody can be a little too top heavy
Yeah.
once they get their boobs done. And if you can even imagine, if they're top heavy when they're that lean, can you imagine when they go into normal life and they put on a little more weight? They're just gonna, it's gonna be unproportional anyway. So I think that's something to be very aware of, is like, you're playing with fire a little bit if you're getting it for the purpose of just competing. I mean, I've always wanted mine. Mine wasn't for competing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
but
that type of thing.
I'm glad that I got mine small, though. You know what I mean? Because I can walk around without a bra like I am now. And they're not like just bouncing everywhere.
Yeah, and they're not uncomfortable. Like that, and that's your own personal like wanting. So that's when, like you said, when
I think it's great.
If
it makes people feel better about themselves, go for it. Do it. But just not. I just hate when I have a young girl. She's like 18, 19, and wants to change her body for the sport.
You'd be surprised how well that padding and stuffing you can fake it.
That's what
you wouldn't even know.
Say, teddy bear stuffing is like the best because it like proper molds around everything. So it's like that is spot on perfect. But you don't like I said earlier, changing your like. Or just wanting to do anything for the sport, like that's just it's just too dangerous. Like mentality to have.
And I like that, and it's just good to have someone like you who's on this, who is a natural athlete, who's not taking anything.
Jen Dory as well, the same, and I think Laura Lee.
She's too. Yeah,
like,
and it's like
the top athletes, like you don't need them, and like if you feel uncomfortable, then go for it, but like just don't do it for the sport.
So there's just an exposure thing for all the girls that are like trying to move up the ranks and then think that's a reason. It's definitely not. So with that being said, we're getting close, basically being finished. Now you have your own brand, know your own ability, which I think is an awesome hashtag that you use, know your own ability. And you've done really well with social media. Your vlogs are growing. They've grown a lot since I've been watching them too. So I watch your vlogs. I think they're fun.
Oh, thank you. It's like I like you. I really like YouTube. Like I said before, I've been watching like Ashley and stuff, and I like connecting with people because I think in the sport, like I said, not a lot of people show how you get to the stage, and it's very difficult for someone new to kind of imagine, how do I even get to stage? Like what's the process of getting to stage? How am I going to do that? How am I going to feel? Like, and it's the fear of unknown. Like a lot of people won't do, not even competing, just anything in life, because it's the unknown. They don't know what's going to be on the other side. So us sharing our journey, being like, hey, it's not that bad, like it's good, it's really good. It helps them feel more comfortable and be like, do you know what, I can do it as well. Like if Ashley can do it, Phoebe can do it, I can do it too. So I love doing YouTube. It just connects me with the audience.
It's been pretty cool. So with that, I guess you have any more questions? We're gonna wrap up here.
I think we're ready to wrap. Thank you so much, Phoebe, for coming on and sharing a little bit about your journey, and I hope to see you at the Arnold next year.
That would be so good. Like honestly, that would be an absolute dream.
That would be cool.
It'd be fun. And then so if you guys want to have a YouTube binge and watch Phoebe, she's actually quite entertaining to watch. Where do they find you on YouTube?
My YouTube is just Phoebe Hagan, and then my Instagram is just Phoebe Hagan _, and then all my information and stuff is pretty much on my Instagram and stuff.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the Olympia. It's your first time being here.
I will. I'm excited to see Ashley as well. Like Ashley on stage. It's going to be really cool. And everyone on stage, I'm excited. It's going to be really, really good.
Okay. Well, with that, we will talk to you guys soon. Thanks again for listening so much. We appreciate it. Signing off.
Bye.
See you later.